Well, hello, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome to What Had Happened. Was Angie's up close and personal with you today? Oh, wait, and now she's gone. Oh, Welcome
Oh
to the
wait.
show.
Oh,
This
there
is
we go.
There she
Hello.
is. There's How are you?
Yay.
Hey, everybody, welcome to What Had Happened Was. Karen, Bryant, and Angela Hill with you. Wait, I'm trying to get our heads the same size here now, so let me pull mine in a
Oh,
little closer.
you know what?
No, I'll pull
I
mine
like
closer.
well, I moved my computer around and then I was trying to take like a cute selfie before we started the show. And I realized it was almost 5. It was literally like 4:58. So I was like, oh shit. So everything's a little jumbled. But I think this is good. This is like a good
Yeah.
head to head ratio.
Exactly. I think it's good. So listen, folks, we are going to
1 to
have
1.
Ode Osbourne on with us. He's got a fight coming up in a couple weeks on June 4th. Right now, there's no fight. Well, this coming weekend, Memorial Day weekend, there's no UFC event. We had an event last night. We'll talk about it. And of course, Angie fighting a couple. I don't know where we want to start on this stuff. Ode will probably join us in a few minutes if we want to talk about what happened last night or what you've been up
Oh
to,
yeah.
sincere about. What do you want to talk about? Because everybody's hot and mad about that score.
Well, yeah, that was definitely something to behold. And the whole time I'm wondering, where the fuck were these judges when I fought Michelle Watterson? Because Holly Holm literally did the same thing, except way more effective than Michelle did in our fight. So I'm wondering where those judges were. And if I had fought that person and they took the win, I wouldn't have been mad about it. Like you could tell from Caitlyn's reaction that she
Mhm.
didn't think it was her. She didn't think she was up. Her corner didn't think she was up. There is the argument that her corner was telling her to get on the gas and giving her worst case scenario just in case the rounds were close, but honestly, like going into that last round, it looked like Caitlyn needed a finish in order to get the win, and she didn't get the finish, and she still got the win. So this girl, I think they really maybe there's something about Caitlyn's stature or the way she holds herself, but they really respect her power as opposed to other fighters. And with this scorecard, it's almost like a big slap in the face to anyone who is a volume striker, because it's like, okay, you can be a volume striker, but if you get hit twice by a power hitter, we're going to score it for the power hitter. So it's definitely a fight that people aren't necessarily angry about just because of the style of Holly striking, just because it's like pitter patter, it's push up against the fence, it's playing the game. And I think
Mhm.
MMA fans aren't really fans of playing the game unless it's their favorite fighter for some outside reason of not to do with the way they fight. But if you're really good at playing the game, MMA fans aren't really into that. Like they want to see knockouts, they want to see submissions, they want to see brawls, they want to see they'd rather see a slugfest with not as much technique than someone who's really good at playing the game, at scoring points and getting out of the way of danger and getting to a tedious win. And that's what Holly Holm should have gotten. She should have gotten one of those tedious wins where she scored a lot of points. She might have taken a little bit of damage, but she still
Mhm.
evaded most of it and was able to score more than Caitlyn, and they gave it to Caitlyn for some reason. So I think it's just that confusion where someone like me, I want to know, I want to know where that comes from. If you were to score damage in my last fight, you would have given me the first round, or the
Yeah.
third round, just because that was
Right.
what happened in the fight. But to Vieira's credit, she was going for submission, she was going for takedowns, and Caitlyn was really just, you know, throwing heat, and then Holly was pushing up against the fence and not really getting close to a finish. So I think that's why people aren't like super mad about it, but they do know that that's the wrong decision. I'm pretty sure they know that that's the wrong decision.
I thought Holly won, but it was incredibly close. And I even was talking to the judges after another decision on the card that I was like, really? But which we can get to later. But I did think Holly won, but let me play devil's advocate to you. And I will say this, Caitlyn came the closest to finishing the fight, right? With that submission choke at the end of the second round. So basically what had happened was, Angie, what had happened was 1 and 5 went to Holly, 2 and 4 went to Caitlyn, and round 3 is the one that everybody, is up for debate more. And round 2 is the one where Holly was almost finished. So I agree with you that Holly did more, right? When you look at the stats, when you look at the significant strikes thrown and landed and whatever, like volume, everything, all the numbers are on her side, but power was definitely on Caitlyn's side. Damage was definitely on Caitlyn's side. She doesn't have any marks on her face. Holly was kind of touched up a little bit, by the end of it. The thing that is tough for me, and it's hard because, like I said, I literally, and I meant to grab it. I had written. So for folks who don't know, a little inside stuff here. While the main event is going on, and basically while the main event is finishing up and stuff, like we're already working, setting up for the post show. So I'm in contact. I've got like my format. I'm talking with the producers, and we're figuring stuff out. But I have to write something for the beginning of the show. As the octagon door closes on another fight night, that kind of thing that you guys all hear over the scenic of Las Vegas. So I'd been. It's Saturday night in Las Vegas. As the octagon door closes on another fight night, a former champ takes one more step towards reclaiming gold. Holly Holm gets a bit. So I wrote all this thing before the decision because I was that confident.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh no. And then I was like, oh no. And so then I was like, well, I can't just swap out the words because it's a different thing. So I'm sitting there scribbling, and I have a couple of minutes because, Anik and those guys have to kind of wrap up what they're doing, but I'm frantically, panically writing something else now.
Yeah.
About a rising star, toppling a secretary, and because dude, I was that sure Holly won. So
how long did it take for them to read the verdict too? Like how long did it take for them?
Not too long. Here's the thing. My heart does, it is tough it's tough. And I know you've been in that situation, and there are things in my life that I was like, no, that was supposed to be mine. How did it go to her? You know what I mean? And I can understand the feeling, the sentiment. That said, I do think Caitlyn, I do think Dede and those guys in the corner really believed she was down. I don't think that was just for show. I think them trying to motivate her in the corner was really because they thought she was losing, and they were freaking out, and she wasn't listening to what they were telling her to do. And to be honest with you, if I'm honest with you, I actually think Caitlyn should have won and could have won in a lot of other times, but she didn't.
Yeah. Well, I get that. With the Misha Tate fight, I think that was an easier fight to score. But at the same time, it was one of those fights where we couldn't have been mad if it went to Misha Tate just because the volume wasn't there. She relies strictly on power. And if you're not getting the knockout, that's not going to cut it, especially when you get into these 5-round fights where you have people who are really good at just scoring points and getting out of the way of danger, good at not getting knocked out. That is really where you have to separate yourself from being championship contender quality or whatever, or just being someone who can knock out people who aren't ready for your power. And there's so much that goes into evading, so much that goes into head movement, so much that goes into disengaging. And that's what Holly Holm, all the Jackson Wink fighters are good at. They're good at going, we're in a firefight, and then push kick. No, you don't get to say anything back. They're the only ones landing, and then they push away to disengage. And I don't like it. I don't like that style of fighting, but I respect Holly Holm so much for being able to make it work for her and being able to fight in a way where she's usually dominating her opponents. And in this fight, this was another one where she dominated her performance. I don't think this fight was any less dominant than her fight versus Irene Aldana, maybe a little bit more.
I think so. She owned Aldana. I do think she's a little slower now, and I do think, unfortunately, look at Holly's an amazing woman and an inspiration, and she deserves all the respect in the world. I find that woman so incredible. But being there, you can see there was a little less on those sidekicks. There was a little less on some of that stuff. Whereas I was Octagon side for the Aldana fight too on Fight Island. I was like, holy crap, look at Holly go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think Caitlyn's just big. I think that's really the difference. I don't think that Holly's slowing down.
Irani's bigger than Caitlyn though. I think Irani and I think she missed weight for that fight. Maybe
not when they fought. Caitlyn looked a lot puffier. She looked just more like she took up more weight. Like if you put her in a plastic bag, she'd like fill up more of the plastic bag than Irani would. I think Irani has more muscle, but when she plumps up the next day, she doesn't look bigger than Caitlyn. I think
Caitlyn. No, I'm not saying she's small.
She's a big old bantamweight. Like that's a big girl. Like it's crazy how big. Remember when she fought who was it? Was it Sajara? And you can see the difference. Like, oh, maybe Sajara should go back to flyweight, even though she's had trouble making the weight. Like, you watch that fight, you're like, I see why she keeps going back to flyweight.
Yeah, well, and that's what it's funny to that point, because Misha came on the show with us on Friday. She came on UFC Live, and she's cutting to 25. And at first, I was kind of like, where's it going to come from? Because Misha always looked normal sized at 35. But then when she came in, she said, no, actually, those girls are bigger than me, and I was able to win because of technique or whatever. But actually, I'm giving up size, and so when I was in there with Caitlyn, I realized I'm really giving up a lot of size. And it is interesting if you saw some of the comments that Misha had, because Misha, actually having fought Caitlyn, actually understands and sees where Caitlyn got the victory, which was interesting because she obviously has a different opinion for having fought her herself. So I thought that was interesting. But yes, Caitlyn is a big girl. She was number 5 coming into it. So, obviously we had Juliana, then Amanda, then Holly was number 2. Then we had Irani Aldana, Rocky, and then Caitlyn. So I don't know if Caitlyn gets the next shot, because Rocky is always a threat, but unfortunately she seems more like she's been put in a gatekeeper position. Whereas even though she's great and she's on this winning streak and everything, Aldana and Caitlyn already fought. Aldana beat Caitlyn. It's an interesting mix now, and obviously the girls are going to rematch. So
that always happens at the top too. When you have, that's why they like to jump someone from 6 to title contention. Sometimes if you get a big win, even if that person isn't top 5 that you get a big win over, you don't want to spoil the mystique of them fighting a champion if they have one more fight against another top 5 person who could possibly also fight the champion, and then you have one of those guys lose. Then those are 2 title fights that you can't necessarily make until they get another win back. So that it gets messy at the top a lot. Like MMA math stops making sense. Like you really don't know who's gonna win once you get to the top. And I was really surprised by this one. Just because I wasn't surprised by the fight. It's the fight I expected. I'm just very, very surprised that the judges weren't on Holly's side. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like, I obviously don't know.
It's true. And in truth, if anything, at this point, even if anything, you would have thought, if there was any bias or anything in there, that it would have gone to Holly. Like, you know what I mean? And so I think at least that takes out the idea that there was some bias in there or whatever, because do we have the option of having a champ that doesn't speak English, or, you know what I mean? Or promote, you know what I mean? Or beloved Holly Holm. Like, you would think if you were into those kind of conspiracy theories, I think you would have assumed it would have gone to Holly in that kind of situation. So again, well, listen, I tell you what, Ange, let's bring in our guest and let us hear what he thinks about the fight. So listen, Ode Osbourne is going to be fighting on June 4th. So he is in the UFC flyweight division, and we want to bring him there right now. So Ode, welcome to you. Welcome to What Had Happened Was. It's great to see you.
Hey, what's up? So wait, question for you guys.
Yeah.
Who did you guys interview in this very same spot?
Oh, wait, let me look at it. Is that where Cam Cheetah was?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the interview spot?
That's the
interview. Is that where you guys go?
Yeah, this is actually Vince Morales'. He's got a whole room with like a mic. He's got, you can't see it, but it's
nice. Y'all need a ring light.
Well, yeah, can you come a little closer, Ode? Yeah, come a little closer though, because you're a little far away.
Tell Vince to get a ring light. Because
oh yeah. One little
he's got the whole setup.
curtains.
He's got a mic right here. He's got a webcam thing right there. He just bought a new camera that's like picks up all the blemishes, all the everything.
No. See, that's why you need the ring light. You
I
need
know.
the high def, but you also need to blank all that high def with the light. So I get my ring like nice and close. I'm like, yo, I look I look so young. My face looks clear.
Men don't think like that. We think one step at a time. We're only like, we only think like from here to here. You guys are like, you guys get the whole picture.
Y'all don't have to. Guys look good regardless. Women, we gotta do stuff. We gotta do stuff.
We gotta do stuff. We got makeup. I got 3 lights here, Ode, so don't even talk to me. But listen, there's like there's like light coming through a curtain or something, right? Because you have like there we go. Well, see, that's better, but then you're far away.
Yeah, far away. It is. It's right there. You want me to close it? It's a window.
Yeah, I like you closer, but that light is like throwing us off right on your face.
Hold on.
We're just sneaking it a little closer.
We're gonna figure this out. How about this?
There we go.
That's good.
Perfect. Yeah, do that. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, so camera. Hey, listen.
You got the clear skin.
Hey, black don't crack. You already know.
Yeah.
Oh, we know. I'm 75.
Hey.
You're 25.
I know, right?
Listen, I know it was a tough night for Vince in there. Listen, it was a good fight. It was a tough night for him. But what did you think of the main event? Like, how did you score that? Did you see Holly winning or did you see it for Caitlyn?
So that fight was the only one I watched because I was actually cornering that night. I was like trying to watch Vince's fight, trying to prepare my guy, and then But that fight, honestly, I thought that was a toss-up. When a fight's that close, I always think whenever a fight's close, it can go either way. I came from like a traditional martial arts background, so my coach was always like, "Hey, if it's any of your fights go to the judges and you lose, that's on you." And I've always owned that because even with wrestling, you know what I mean. So that was a toss-up, man. It was so hard. That was just like, that was a close one. Caitlyn was definitely a force, and like Holly she did her thing, but I could. That was such a toss-up. I honestly, I at the end of that fight, I couldn't pick one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was a clear one for Holly. And
I thought so too.
It's not that I was mad at it because I wish that MMA judging usually worked in that way.
Because you're the Caitlyn. Because you're the one. You're the one who finally gets one to go her way.
Okay,
I'm the one fucking people's faces up and then not getting a decision because someone went hush, and then kicked me away when I tried to punch him in the face.
Yeah, because I like that. I mean, I kind of agree because in a fight, I want to be all up in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you're in there, you're fighting, and somebody does like. They jab and then they run away and then they do another jab and they run away. I'm like, it's a fight. Stand right here and fight me. What are you doing?
So you like the phone booth fights. You like getting tied to your opponent.
I like to go to war.
Yeah.
I like to go to war in there.
Yeah, well, we can tell.
Yeah.
You've had some impressive fights, some super impressive fights, super fast knockout. How did it feel preparing for a 15-minute fight and then getting a knockout in 23 seconds?
That was honestly the fights that you think you are gonna go completely different. Like it's always funny whenever you get those knockouts and you're like, oh wow, that was easier than I thought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I never think that way. Like I always look to finish my opponent, so that's how I fight. But sometimes when you hit somebody, you don't think they're gonna go down, and then all of a sudden they just go down, and you're like, oh hey, he's down. So when that happened, it was just kind of like a surreal moment, and it was the calmest I've ever been, and it was like everything was in slow motion. And so when I got that knockout, it was just like boom, everything was just like so slow, and I felt like when he hit the ground, I was punching him in slow motion. That's how it should be. You know what I mean? The fights that they go like all 3 rounds and you're brawling in there, those are the ones that those are the worst ones to be in sometimes.
Yeah, well, it didn't look slow motion. When you watch the tape, it's just like, bah, bah, bah. But I know what you're talking about. Like you'll be in a position or you'll be landing stuff and you'll be like, man, why isn't this guy quit yet? And it's only been 5 seconds, you know?
Right.
And you're just like, man, time literally slows down when you're in there. It's really crazy, especially because it's like, I don't think many people have had that experience where you're literally fighting for your life. Like training in the gym is totally different from competing because you're trying to do everything that you can. You use every inch of your strength and your ability to finish this person. So it's weird how time actually slows down when you're in those moments.
Everything too, and it's like when you're training, like, you know, I'm all Jamaican slow, you know, I'm Irie when I'm training, I'm Irie, but in the cage, I'm like as stiff as a board sometimes, and I'm like looking back at myself, I'm like, why am I so stiff? That's not how I train, you know. So everything is so much more intense in the octagon, and 1 minute feels like 24 hours for me. I'm just like, why? Like you said, why isn't this person going out? I'm hitting everything. Like when I fought CJ, I was hitting him with literally everything, and he was just not going away. And I'm like, what is this dude made out of?
Yeah. It's like the Terminator thing where you punch him and they just go.
Right. And they come back right. Around.
Jamaican, I love your necklace, by the way, Karyn.
Well, thank you, Ode. I was going to say I had to do a little bit of a Jamaican tip of the hat here. For folks who don't know, Ode is from Jamaica. My mom is Jamaican, you know, so we had to have a little bit of that Irish spirit here with us. But and we will get into the Jamaica stuff. But actually, you say something that I want to kind of pick up on because some of the fighters this weekend were talking about this. But like, how are you? How do you feel, Ode, in terms of your ability to translate what you do at practice into the octagon, right? Because some people are killers in the gym, and then they get to fight night and they choke, or maybe it's the reverse, right? They get beat up in the gym all the time, but they show up on fight night. Like, what are you able to find consistency? Have you ever recognized differences, you know, in your performance from one place to another?
Yeah, usually whenever I perform differently in the gym from the octagon, that's all mental, you know what I'm saying? So usually for me, I try to be as grounded as possible. Like I said, I'm a martial artist through and through martial artist. So I try to I try to practice certain skills outside of the octagon, like patience. Like if I'm at a red light and I'm just like, oh, where's this? You know, I try to practice certain things like that because I find I get really tense. You know what I mean? Like stress and all this other life and trauma and all the other stuff. You know, you just like always tense. And so when I get into the octagon, sometimes that transfers. So if I'm not practicing certain skills like patience and respect and, you know, being who I am, if I'm not 100% who I am, when that cage door closes, it will show. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah. So what traditional martial art did you start out with?
So actually, I grew up with, I was a wrestler, but after I left wrestling, when I was in college, my very, very first coach, he had like 5 black belts, Kineticon, karate, Hapkido. He had like all these different, you know, and I came from Florida, so I was a huge degenerate. And you know, for real. And you know, I was 18 at the time, didn't really grow up with a father figure, and so I was all over the place. And this guy really shaped and molded me. You know, he's like, you're not gonna swear in my gym, you're gonna bow before you get to the mat, you're gonna do this, that, and the other thing. We're gonna teach you how, you know, he taught me discipline, how to be respectful, all this stuff. And you know, funny thing you said that. So when I first got into the UFC, I tried the whole like Connor Kobe thing where, like I said, it wasn't me.
You put on an act then.
Yeah, it wasn't me, but it showed still to this day. So I have a funny story. So when I fought on the McGregor Cowboy card, and I fought Brian Kelleher. And, you know, everyone was just like, you got to promote the fights. You got to be promoting. And so I was like, but that's not really me. You know, like I want to be like, I'm the nice guy. That's not really me. And so I was like, all right, whatever. So I remember getting on camera and I was like, someday Conor McGregor is going to tell people that he fought on my card.
I love it.
Hey, what's even funnier was this. Brian Kelleher.
I'm sorry, but that's awesome.
Hey, but what's even funnier was this. Brian Kelleher, like, you know, like I was so like stuck and I just wasn't myself performing in there because, like I said, when you're not yourself, it shows. And Brian Kelleher caught me in a guillotine. I tried defending it, but my arm got stuck in there. And so I ended up having to tap with my feet like a dolphin, you know.
Oh.
So to this day, people message me on the comments. They're like, "Hey, didn't Connor fought on your card back in the day?"
Ah, that's amazing. But hey, there are definitely worse things you can be known for
Yeah.
in your debut fight. That's
For
actually
sure.
pretty funny and awesome.
You didn't poop your pants.
That's
Oh.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man. Yeah, it's funny the things that that follow you, you know, like the with Connor, there's a bunch of them, like the who the fuck is that guy with Jeremy
Right.
Stevens, that's my
Right.
boy. And you know, he just owned it, you know, it just became part of his like whole brand. Like I'm that fucking guy, you
I am
know,
who
like
that guy, yeah.
you know who the fuck I am because he
Yep.
asked me who the fuck I am, and I'm the guy who's kind of say who the
Yep.
fuck I am I. So you know, so it's funny how things like that follow you, but you can totally own it. And I love that you're embracing who you actually are because that's the easiest shtick to stick to, you know, like it's hard to pretend. It's hard to be like a Colby Covington
For sure.
everyone says, oh, he's actually really chill and cool in person, but as soon as the cameras come on, he starts going. Conor McGregor is kind of similar. Like he is crazy, you know, like you can tell
That's
he's
him.
crazy.
He's pretty actually
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is,
Yeah.
but he's also very respectful, and I feel like he's pretty humble when it comes to just people that he doesn't have to fight. So so there's always that personality that you have to uphold when you're off camera, and it's
Yeah.
easier to just be the person you always are, like be your authentic self, because that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Like there are a lot of nice guys who end up doing martial arts who put away the hooligan days and they're like, yo, like I'm just gonna be me. This is the
Yeah.
easiest way to be. And
Yep.
Yeah.
and yeah, I appreciate you being yourself, because that we need more of that in MMA. Less
Yeah.
100%.
less fake roughnecks, you know.
For sure. And there's already, and you know, our sport, yeah, we need the Kobe's and the Stricklands and the McGregors and stuff like that, but we also need balance. You know what I'm saying? We need
Yes.
we need balance. Like we need people that like me who are gonna be nice, and people find that annoying as hell. You know, people
Yeah.
find me annoying because I'm always like, hey, one love. Let's love each other and be respectful and show support.
I hate
you know what I'm
that
saying?
shit.
Yeah, people are like, no, violence. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But people hate that, you know. But it's all right because I don't do it for the people. You know, I do it for me.
Exactly. Well, I'm just saying, I hate it when my opponent is very nice to me, because then I'm like,
Because you just
I
want
wanted to
you
be
want
mean.
to smash it.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
get in game face mode, and they're all like respectful and like,
Yeah.
oh, it's gonna be a great fight. I'm like, shake their hand.
Wait,
all
but
mad.
Ange, you guys didn't touch gloves, did you, Ange?
I
your
never
last
touched
fight-
gloves. I never touch gloves before I fight. I don't
Women
care.
typically
who it
don't.
is.
Women fighters,
Yeah.
y'all be going at
Cause
it.
they're dirty, man. Like I've seen so many
I think
fights.
Holly and Caitlyn touched gloves, didn't they?
I don't even.
I just never. I would never advise it. I think it's a stalling
Really?
tactic. I think a lot
You
of
don't
people
you don't
are
at the
dirty.
beginning of the fight, you don't go in and be like, here we go.
No, because like I've seen so many people take advantage of that moment. So many
And get
people will
cold cocked.
touch gloves and like they'll shoot immediately. Or
Right.
like Vieira, like her fight with what was it? Who was it? Felice. She shot immediately. So I'm not gonna like let my guard down and be like, hey bro. And then suddenly, you know, someone's shooting on your legs. I've seen people touch gloves and then throw a head kick right after. Like it's just a distraction. I'd rather just start like I started at the gym, you know. Well, at the gym I touch gloves, but I would rather just start the fight without some gray area moment where you're not sure if it's time
Where
to
we're
hit each
pretending
other
we're
or not.
buddies and we're not fighting
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
Ode,
like no,
you
we'll
touch
touch
gloves,
gloves
Ode?
after.
See, and I'm a whole glove toucher. I am a through and
Just
through
get the
glove toucher. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, but
all up in
if I
there.
were to touch somebody's glove and they were to pull something like throw a head kick or a shot, I wish a motherfucker would. I would go.
It's like,
I would
try
wish
it.
the whole-
Just try it.
Yeah,
Test me.
yeah, come for me, come at me.
I
Yes.
wish, but I get it though. I get it. Women, y'all go in. You guys go in. You guys go
It's
in.
what we
The
do,
women
man.
fight. I love watching the female fighters because there's no, not only is there no touch gloves, but there's no feel out process. Like the men, there's a lot of feel out.
Yeah.
Y'all get right after it, right from start to finish.
We have a lot of
Scrapping.
time to make up.
Yeah.
We just got in here. We just
Right,
we're
they're
just not
trying
getting
to-
respected. So we gotta put on a show. Like we're trying to get more respect.
I love
It's
it. I
true.
love it.
It's true. Hey, so listen, so Ode, yeah, you mentioned that first you got into to wrestling. You talked about being from Florida, but we should back it up a little bit. You are Jamaican born, right? And so is my mom and all that. But so what's your journey in terms of Jamaica to Wisconsin of all places, or whatever? Like you're in Waukesha, like dude, what?
Yeah.
Like as Jamaica to Florida makes 100% sense.
Hey, I'm in Vegas now.
A ton of my relatives are there, but Jamaicans don't go to cold places.
They do if they want to become a good wrestler.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
So now I'm in Vegas, obviously now. But so the journey for me was difficult because my mom moved to the States when I was about I was about 7 years old, and the whole moving to the US to build a better life thing.
Right, from Jamaica, from Spanish Town.
Yeah,
okay.
from Kingston.
From Kingston. Okay.
Yeah, and so I stayed back for about 2 years, and I was with my grandma, my aunt, and it was just me. I was an only child, so I was always alone all the time, constantly just alone all the time, walking around. Because I don't know how it is now, but back then you could be by yourself and come back at night, and they'd be like, "All right, welcome back." That's it. Now I don't know if it's like that anymore because there's so much violence and all this crazy shit. But my thing was, what got me to the States, my mom, her boyfriend actually, she worked, and her boyfriend actually worked as well. And he fell off of a ladder and like broke his leg in multiple places. And they got a settlement, and she was able to, like gather up money to get me here and, get an apartment and get a car and all kinds of stuff. But, what led actually being from Jamaica is actually what led up to me being a fighter, because regardless of being with my grandma and my aunt and stuff like that, I always felt like nobody really cared about me. You know what I'm saying? I always felt like a nuisance to people. I was always that kid that talked a lot and I required a lot of attention. My dad wasn't there. He moved to England when I was 7. So I always felt like a bother to everybody. And so I always had this like burning desire as a kid to prove myself to people that I was deserving to be worthy of somebody. You know what I'm saying? So that transpired when I moved to the state. I still had that desire. When my mom finally brought me up 2 years later, I still had that desire to prove like someday, I'm gonna be loved by people. And my mom obviously gave me that love, but I just, from growing up as a kid, not getting any of that, I always wanted to prove, like I always had this fire, like I'm gonna be something and I'm gonna show you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be something someday and watch.
I relate to that a lot, actually.
Yeah, because especially if you talk a lot, they dismiss you a lot. Yeah, if you talk a lot, you get dismissed.
Oh man.
A lot.
Or if you don't talk a lot, then you get looked over, you get ignored. So yeah.
So you can't win. There's no winning. So when I got when we moved to New York first, we moved to New York in June 2001, and then September 9/11 happened, and we were only like 40 minutes away. And my mom was, first of all, she didn't like the cold, and she was like, "This is crazy." And so we ended up moving to Florida after 9/11. You know what I mean? And when I got to Florida, I got into high school wrestling. Wrestled for 4 years of high school, and like I said, I had that desire because like I said, I always wanted to prove myself to everybody, because that's how it was with me. I was always so competitive. So when I got into high school wrestling, I got my ass kicked at first. But then in the summertime, when all my teammates were off skateboarding and watching porn or whatever the hell they did, I would I would take the extra time. I took the
boys will be boys.
I mean, for real. I took the extra time to, better my craft. And my coach and I, we would go to off-season wrestling tournaments, and we just wrestled all summer long. And I came back. I was the first sophomore wrestler to ever place at state as a sophomore, only having wrestling 2 years. So I ended up placing at state as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. Nice. And then I ended up going to Wisconsin because Florida college wrestling sucks. I'm just gonna say that right now.
I don't think of wrestlers in Florida at all. At all. Yeah. No.
So that's how I ended up getting to Wisconsin and meeting my old coach Reese. And when Reese saw me the first time, so when my first year of college wrestling, I went to the national tournament. I actually made it to the national tournament. Okay. My first year in wrestling, and I beat the number 1 seed at the national tournament. The guy that was supposed to win it, I beat. And the next match, I already pinned this guy at conference. So I was like, man, I'm gonna be All-American, blah 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 blah. Right. But then life's, your past trauma your past traumas.
Well, what happened was
your past traumas is like, hey, listen. I know you want to be an All-American, but this was gonna happen. You're gonna lose this match. All right. I know you beat this guy already, and I know all this stuff happens, but you're gonna lose this match. And so I had a lot of inner battles that I had to overcome after that. After that loss at the national tournament, I really had to dig deep and understand why I lost that match, because I lost. He didn't beat me. I lost. I self-sabotaged on purpose.
You beat yourself. Yeah.
Because it was easier for me to self-sabotage and disappoint myself rather than getting somewhere and then having somebody else disappoint me. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot easier for me, and I've been doing it my whole life, and I had no idea. So after that match, I was like, wow, I've been self-sabotaging my entire life, and I understood now because like I said, that childhood thing of not ever being enough, came back in full force when I was an adult, and so it became something that I kept doing over and over again, and wrestling matches where I would make it to the finals, I would lose because, like I said, it was easier for me to let myself down than if I were to get there. And I was more afraid of being successful than anything else. That was my biggest fear. My biggest fear was being successful because I knew deep down inside that if I was close to being successful and it didn't happen, that would kill me. It would hurt me. And when I met Reese, after that, Reese really molded me and created, he gave me discipline. He gave me a whole bunch of things that, I guess I never had a father figure in my life. So that man that really instilled everything that I'm missing, it was like a puzzle piece. And he put together all the pieces that I had been missing. And, he ended up, I never lost a fight under him. Never. He was an amazing character. Amateur and pro, never lost a fight under him. And he ended up, motorcycle accident, dying in a motorcycle accident. And I ended up having to move to Rufus Sport under Duke Rufus. Yeah, and of course. Anthony Pettis and everybody else. And
Bilal, Anthony, Sharp, a bunch of guys.
Chico Camus. We had
Chico, right? Yeah.
But I really understood. I learned to appreciate. I really appreciated my original coach because just because Starbucks is considered the best doesn't mean it tastes the best. You know what I'm saying?
It's the most popular. It doesn't mean it's the best.
Exactly. And so when I got to Rufus Sport, I really understood now. I was like, wow, I wish I had told Reese how much more I appreciated him because, it was more, I went from a business, a family-oriented care about you gym to more so like, you're just another body. And, it was, I enjoyed, my time at the gym and I enjoyed everything there, but it just wasn't the fit for me. And, I lost 2 fights in a row. I'd never lost ever in my entire life. Ended up losing 2 in a row. And I was 4-2. And here comes the self-sabotaging demons again, coming back. Like, hey, remember national tournament? I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So
always finds a way to creep in there when you least expect it.
Yeah, have you worked with sports psychologist? Have you what have you done? Because the cool thing is you're so aware of it and you're cognizant of it. And the fact that you're even able to speak about it means you recognize it and see it and have addressed it. But how did you fix that?
So interesting you said that. So what had happened was the Brian Kelleher moments end up, going to a gym called Pura Vida, getting into the UFC. I ended up going on after I left Rufus Sport, and I'm going on like a 3-fight win streak, getting into on the Contender Series, getting into the UFC, and same thing happened. The self-sabotaging moment with Brian Kelleher. You know what I mean? He put me in a guillotine, and I remember there was a split second where I could have gotten out, and I just didn't. I just froze. I kind of, and you are the only one that could change yourself. It doesn't matter who you see. It doesn't matter what psychologist you see. It doesn't matter what book you read. It doesn't matter. So I did all of it. I read the books, talked to people, did meditations, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I was the one that had to face my demons. So I had to go back into my brain and figure out the root of the evil, which was I craved the affection of being accepted. I wanted to feel accepted. And
I know how that feels.
Yes, and that was the root. And when I figured out the roots, I was able to kind of almost climb and dig and then kind of just piece myself back. And I started slowly working on myself and started loving me for who I am and not for what anyone else wanted, because that's all I wanted. I always wanted the attention. I fought because I wanted people to like me. I dated women because I wanted people to like me. I did no, for real. That's how it was. I'm being dead, I was a degenerate, you know what I mean? The things that I did was because I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be appreciated. And so once I started loving myself and started really going to church, and I'm big into God. Not everybody is, to each his own, but I started really coming into my own shell and understanding me and what I wanted and not what anybody else wanted. And so once I figured that out, it was easier for me now to then build and kind of let go a little bit and become Ode Osbourne, the Jamaican sensation.
Nice. And I want to know, how did you know the difference in competition when you were self-sabotaging or when it just wasn't your night? Because I think sometimes, and I think you touched on it a little bit, sometimes you almost feel like you made a choice to give up in a certain moment. And is that what you feel like?
I did. Oh, because in the moment, you know it. Like me, in the moment, I always know it. And you know what I mean? It's not like I purposely do it. It's more subconscious. Most of us as humans aren't conscious creatures. We're subconscious. We're driven by our subconscious. Like myself, I'm driven by I had really bad impulses, and so I was driven subconsciously. And so in the moment, I literally remember being in that guillotine and being like, I could really explode, because I'm an explosive athlete. I can explode out of this. But something kept me back from exploding. Something kept me back from fighting the guillotine. Something kept me back from winning. And I had to figure out what that was. And that's the thing, when you're, for me, I had to figure out why it was that I didn't want to win. And that was really it.
Nice.
That is heavy. Well, I wanted to say, Ode, I want to take some, well, this person, Al Snow, saying, damn, I showed up at the right time. What a great conversation.
Hey.
Brewster is saying, participate in your own rescue. They live by that motto. But yeah, people are talking about, just the fact that you're being so candid and everything. So I think that is really great. And here's one thing that people are bringing up, that you did a great fight you did a great in the fight with CJ Vergara, despite CJ being 129, and you had two overweight opponents in a row. And that's actually something I wanted to ask you about, because, for a long time, we used to keep a record of overweight opponents, people who came in heavy, their win percentage was very high. So you fight somebody who comes in heavy, you lose. Then your next opponent also comes in heavy. I have to guess there was some hesitancy on your part to accept it, knowing that, yes, I might get more of this guy's purse. But the last time this happened, I got knocked out. And so how did you feel about taking another fight with somebody overweight and just in general, in your division? Because it is a lot to ask for a guy to be 25. It's a tough weight class. But if you sign the contract, you got to show up at $125.
Yeah. So also, I think there are fighters through and through, and then there are people who want the accolades, right? So through and through, I'm a fighter. From the day I was born, I was meant to fight. That's why the fire was built from when I was a kid, and the fire still burns within me. There's still a part. I still want to prove myself to the world. I still want to show people that I'm great, but not in the same sense. So the reason why I say that is because I say yes as soon as this contract comes. I tell Jason House, I say, whatever the name is, just say yes. I'd say yes. I say yes to anything, anybody, whatever the case would be. So for me, the weight cut thing could be, you know what I mean? When they miss weight, it gets a little irritating sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm a warrior, and I believe the lion is the king of the jungle, not the elephant. So okay. I believe that I'm so confident in myself that I believe if you come in at 130 or 135, I fought 5 times at 145, weighing 138. Nice. And only because I believe in myself so much. I believe in myself so much. I don't believe that anyone can beat me, that if you miss weight, I still believe I can beat you. It doesn't matter.
Well, it also, some people argue that means it shows that person didn't prepare. Yep. They're not ready. They didn't take it seriously,
And not for nothing, but nobody ever really means to miss weight. You know what I'm saying? It's not purposeful. So for me, I always take that into consideration. Whenever somebody misses weight, I'm like, you know what? Like, as long as CJ came up to me and he was like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I missed weight, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, bro, it's cool. Like, me and CJ are cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, man. Don't worry. I'm Jamaican. I'm Irish. I'm like, man, it's cool, man. We're gonna put on a show anyways. It don't even matter. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna beat you and take half your purse. that's what my thought process. Yeah. That's my thought process, But no, nobody really, they don't mean to miss weight, and it happens. And some people, especially women, y'all go through your cycles and all kinds of other stuff. So I take a lot of stuff, and family issues. So I don't really care that much, to be honest.
Do you have a hard weight cut? Because I saw you at Syndicate the week of my fight, and I saw you moving around with Aljo, and I was like surprised when I realized that you were a flyweight. I thought you were a bantamweight. You look like you could be a bantamweight, but you're slim in the middle, skinny in the middle, but
yeah, I'm like
back.
Yeah, I'm like a Dorito chip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I honestly, you know what's crazy?
Oh my God.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Most people don't believe this. Most people won't believe this, but I actually don't weigh that much. I probably walk around at 143.
Wow.
That's it.
Okay.
Wow.
In camp, out of camp, I'll get to 146 out of camp.
Okay.
You know
what I mean?
That's fat. Yeah, that's fat.
Yeah, with the 8-pack.
Yeah, I don't weigh that much. So, but my weight cuts, they are hard because I am muscle build. So it's hard. Definitely.
How much do you usually cut? And if you don't mind talking about it, how
No,
much
I
do
don't
you
mind. I
usually
don't care.
cut? Like the day that you do the water cut, how much do you usually do?
So on Thursday, I'm usually about I probably cut like 10 pounds, 8 pounds. I'll say 8.
Okay.
8 pounds.
And that's a lot, when you're that small,
But it's a big percentage of your body. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's normal for most people to cut at least that much, but the smaller weight classes,
bigger
percentage of your body.
And
it can be a little much.
In the later rounds, I will say though, in the later rounds, that matters, you know what I'm saying? Because I suffer in the tub. I know I do 4 pounds one day, 4 the next day. And but my opponent, sometimes like, okay, so the Manil fight, he didn't even, after he got to he was like, I don't even know. I think he was like 129, and he was like, I'm just gonna miss
Oh
weight.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, Manel Cap for those who don't know.
No. Some
Yeah,
people
because he
just
used to
have
fight
this
at Bantam
nonchalance
too.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He durned it. He durned
Yeah,
old
he's-
Dern. Pre baby Dern, not
He
now
durned
serious.
it. Oh my
Not now
God.
serious. I'm skinny Dern. That was
You
Oh.
just said he
pre
turned
baby.
it. Oh my
It's
God.
like, it's fine.
He's a cool dude though, man. He's
Yeah.
dope.
Some people
guy.
are mad
He's
nonchalant
good
about
people.
it. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, all of my opponents, but if you look at all of my opponents, they, so far at 25, none of them has made weight. I'm the only one that's
You're the only one that's consistent. Hey, but
Consistent.
you have the practice for that championship fight. So
There
that's
you
what
go.
I always think when I accidentally make 115, because you always try to use that pound difference or whatever,
Yeah.
just so you can be big the next day.
Mhm.
I always say, oh, okay, well, at least I'm practicing for that championship fight, so you can
There
keep
you
that
go.
in mind every time you make
Yeah.
weight and your opponent doesn't. Like, you're getting that champion spot. They're not if it was at that height. So it's good to
Yeah.
get the practice in now,
It
because
is.
things become a habit and your body learns. Your body learns when to quit as well. Like, your body's going to start holding on to weight more. So
Oh, that makes sense.
especially, the older you get, the more into your 30s and stuff, that's when you start feeling like you can't really cut as much as you used to in your 20s. So it's good that you have a handle on it now, because that's going to pay dividends in the end. Like my last opponent, for some reason, she was walking to the bus in crutches. I'm like, the fuck? Like, what happened to you? I didn't even kick you, but it's that weight cut does a number on your body, whether you're going to feel it in the fight or years later. Like, you're really stressing your body out when you are cutting a ton of weight, especially if you're cutting a ton of weight and then not making it. That means for most people, not Manuel Cape or Cape or whatever, but for most people, they push their body to the limit and then they quit, and then it's kind of the damage is already done. So good for you, knowing how to do it.
Your jaw takes it. Your jaw gets weaker.
Yeah.
Because the muscles in your jaw diminish a lot when you cut a lot of weight.
Yeah,
So,
and the brain, there's less water in the brain. That's like one of those things I read once, and now I always say it.
We're crazy.
You're a little crazy. Okay, so listen, let's talk about this. Joe Boza saying he hopes that your opponent Adeshev makes weight on June 4th. So yeah, you do have a fight coming up on June 4th. I oopsie, dropped my phone here. I was going to read his name, but it is a funky name. It is definitely one of those obs, evs, that everybody knows from that part of the world. Yeah, you're fighting Zaruk Adeshev. And Zaruk Adeshev is he does live, he fights out in New York. He's Uzbeki, from Uzbekistan. But I am curious what you make of the matchup. I know it's the flyweight division right now with Davison is going to be kind of on hold, and we're gonna we have Brandon fighting Kai Kara France coming up, which is a fire fight. I love that. Like on that one actually kind of makes me a little sad because I like them both so much. I like them both so much, but yeah, what do you make of your matchup, and sort of what are your aspirations in the division? Obviously, I'm guessing you want to be champ.
100%. There's no reason. Of course. But honestly, I'm just glad he accepted to fight me. I haven't fought since the let's see, Madison Square Garden card was what was that, November? And it's been so hard to find opponents that want to fight, because now everybody wants to build their record up, and you know what I mean. And I know I'm not ranked yet, so I'm kind of the fighter that's like, there's nothing to gain for people to fight me. You know what I'm saying?
That ROI, right? Yeah.
Who else you got?
Yeah. So I'm just glad that he accepted it, because one fighter accepted it. Then he said, then he got the flu, which we weren't supposed to fight for like 2 months. And he got the flu, and another fighter had a wedding.
But I'm gonna be sick 2 months from now, so I can't.
My doctor called. I'm gonna be sick in 2 months.
I don't do too much research into my opponents, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go in there and do what I want to do, regardless. But I'm just glad. I guess I have respect for anybody who accepts to fight me, because I know I know the kind of style I bring. You know what I mean? I'm coming every time. Like I look for finishes. You know what I mean? So I respect him for taking the fight, and I think it's gonna go well. I love this fight because he's a Glory. He was a champion in Glory, and so I always love those stand up guys because I want to test my. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, let's go. Everybody that says they're stand up guy always eventually turns into a wrestler. So I love.
Right.
You're
I
a
grew up.
wrestler.
And you're a
I am,
wrestler,
I am,
so right.
I am. But I used to
Perfect.
wrestle in college. I don't want to wrestle right now. I'm trying to like beat people's face off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is gonna be good. It's gonna be really, really good and exciting. So I'm probably gonna be chasing him around the whole day on time, but hopefully I catch him on his way out.
Yeah, nice. I like it. I like it. And I mean, you scored a really nice knockout off of that kick. You kind of caught the kick on your shoulder, leaned out the way, and then threw something right down the pipe. So he's definitely going to be a little hesitant opening up against you because he knows your counter game can end the fight. So it's going to be a good one for sure. I'm really excited about this one, especially for you because we've met a couple times. I saw you in Houston. You were telling me about your teaching, and I think it's so great that you had all this self-discovery and you were also a teacher because you were able to pass on that knowledge of what not having that love as a kid did, and you have the patience, I'm assuming, to deal with those kids that maybe reminded you of yourself, maybe you felt like they weren't getting that attention at home or in school or whatever. So it is really cool to hear your full story. I knew about the teacher, I knew about the pirate stuff. You got to tell Karyn about the pirate stuff.
The pirate stuff. Well, because Angie, I was gonna say the reason you're on the show is because Angie was like, "Yo, I ran to Ode at Syndicate, and he's so cool," and blah blah blah. So like that's how it all worked out. And then I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a Jamaican, of course, because we had Rude Boy. Randy was on the show,
learn how
and
to do that.
So we had Randy already. Boy, I can't. My mom can do. I can't do it. My mom can snap like crazy. I can't. I can't do it.
My hands like kind of fucked up from the last camp.
I can't. And I'm sure. Oh wait, I almost got it, Mom. I'm sure she's probably doing it right now because she'd be like, "Teacher." She said she used to do that all the time to let the teacher know that she knew the answer.
Teacher, I know, teacher.
Oh,
yeah, so I used to put on the pirate hat. When I put the hat on, I started speaking patois to the kids, and they thought it was the funniest thing. So I put this hat on, and I'd go like this, and we just talk just like this. When we put on the hat, we transform into the Jamaican pirate, and the kids them love it. Them love all of it.
And this is you teaching this is you teaching wrestling or jiu-jitsu or something, or what were you teaching?
No, I'm teaching 5th and 6th graders.
Like legit, like school teaching.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was an assistant, and so all the kids, like I said, I saw. It was in the beauty was. So here is the beauty of this, right? I taught in an inner city, and all these kids, I saw all these little me's. Angela hit the nail. When I tell you, Angela hit the nail on the head when she said what she said just now, because I saw myself and all these kids, and they all wanted the same thing. They all they wanted was love, and all they wanted was to feel like they were a part of something, to feel like they wanted to belong. And a lot of teachers get this thing where they feel like kids should be perfect, and that's not accurate at all. You know what I'm saying? Like if a kid, they come to school late, they send them, they reprimand them for showing up late. Some of these kids are taking care of their baby sisters when they wake up first thing. They're, you know what I'm saying?
Some of these kids are parents at home before they even get to school.
Yeah, so they come into class, and I'm like, look, sit down. Look, you know what I'm saying? That's it. And I poured so much love into these kids, and they made, honestly. It's funny because as much as I helped these kids, they helped me. And I don't think they understood how much they truly helped me, because I discovered a lot about myself teaching through them, and just the patience that I started receiving through me, because I started understanding, because I would sometimes, yell, and when I would yell at them, they would kind of like, they wouldn't take it well. And I'd be like, wait a minute, what am I doing? That's what people used to do to me as a kid. So why am I going to do the same thing that people would do to me, to the kid? And so something that teachers don't do is apologize. What I would do is if I ever like, I would reflect on myself, like, did I go too far? You know, yeah, he was disrespectful, but he's also a child and he doesn't know better. So let me have a conversation with him or her. And so that's what I would do. I would say, hey, you know, I love you, but you know, you can't be this way. If you want to get better, you got to do X, Y, and Z. And so they would understand that much more. And so then I just evolved as an educator much better because I started like having these conversations with them. And, you know, people think that you got to treat kids like you can't talk to them about stuff. You got to yell. But that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? You got to talk to them and make them understand what it is they're doing. So there's discipline and then there's discipline. So discipline, when someone does something wrong, you reprimand them. That I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. The martial arts version that I like is discipline, teaching somebody to do something they don't want to do, but knowing they have to do it in order to be successful. So that's how I taught them. I taught them real discipline. Like, I know you don't want to do your homework, but if you do your homework now, you're going to get better test scores. Then you're going to get into the college you want. Then you're going to be the, you know, basketball player that you want to be. Then, you know what I'm saying? So I taught them the
long game. You tried to show them the long.
Yes. And they actually understood it. They got it. And I actually, you know, I like teaching more than I like fighting, to be honest. But in order to be a successful fighter, I have to show the kids success first. So the airplane oxygen mask, right? You got to put the oxygen mask on you first before you put the oxygen mask on everybody else. So in order to show them what success looks like, I have to also demonstrate, like, look, I can't teach and fight at the same time. So I have to sacrifice my job in order to be successful, in order so I can show you all what that's like. Sacrifice so you guys can and then do the same things that I'm doing.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm guessing after you're done fighting, you're gonna go back to teaching.
See, I used to think that, but now I want to I want to like build a school and do things my own way, because like the way that it's usually some old person way up top telling everybody what to do, who's never been in the classroom, who knows nothing about inner city kids, who knows nothing about anything, you know, and they're giving all these commands and stuff like that. But I want to actually open up my own school. We do things differently. We don't teach regular from the book. You know, I want to teach life skills, finances, stock market, trading, Bitcoin. You know, I want to teach like stuff that is applicable in the real world. You know, so in order to do that, I got to obviously become a UFC champion first, because
then you'll get the money, and then like Dana will throw like half of it onto the school as well, and then you can have Monster Energy drink, back it, and yes. Yeah, I love it. I love the game plan.
The platform.
I love it too.
Yeah,
it's less about the belt and more about the platform. It used to be like, I want to be a champion so I could drive fast cars, have a lot of women, have a lot of money, you know, all that. When I was DJing, when I was degenerate, that was like my thought process. But now, it's like, looking back, I laugh at myself. Like, I was really like that. Like, damn, I can't believe I was like that. Like, but you know, now it's more about the platform that I need in order to change the world. I want to make positive changes. You know what I'm saying? I don't just want to be a UFC champion just so I could like flash my stuff everywhere. Not my stuff, but you know.
I was like, it's family show here.
Hey. Just put it on the table. No, that's awesome. It's cool that you're not just
this person's like, teach a kid how to navigate the real world while teaching him how to kick ass.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You got it.
Yeah, you're a good guy in every sense of the word, and of the idea, not just because it's easier to deal with, you know, the fallout when you're a good guy.
Yeah.
By the way, my mom is saying she's doing the finger snap, Ode.
Oh wow! So, we need like a sound effect since we can't do it.
Hey, is your mom listening right now?
Yes, she is. That's what I was gonna say. Like, we got to get into some Jamaica stuff before we get out of here. But what were we gonna say?
I'm gonna tell her if she can cook rice and peas. Tell her. Oh, she's listening. Say.
Oh,
if my mom's rice and peas is on point.
Why? All right. So if the rice and peas not a pigtail, me not want it.
Listen, and the rice and peas is better 2 days after. Right? It's well, listen, my mom, here's the thing, my mom can cook like crazy, but she didn't like always love it. But like her curry chicken and all this stuff, but like the rice and peas is ridiculous.
I believe
Ridiculous.
it. I believe I'm coming to your house for Thanksgiving, Karyn.
There we go.
Don't come to mine.
No.
We got weird shit.
And in fact, earlier today we were just talking because I haven't been to Jamaica in forever. When's the last time you were there? Do you still have a ton of relatives there and stuff?
Yeah, I have like my mom and like maybe 2 cousins here. All of my family is there. Last time I was there, I was 9. I haven't gone back since.
Oh,
What?
you gotta go back.
Yeah.
You gotta go back.
Yeah, because I haven't been in like since maybe 2000 and when was the last time I was there? Maybe 2016 or 2006 rather, something like that, or 5 or 6 or 4. Like it's been a minute, but
Yeah,
dude, you gotta go.
I think I went in 2010.
Yeah, you
was
probably
like-
know more about Jamaica than me then.
I know, right? It was like the first summer I had like little baby traps. Like I was like, what are these? And I was wearing a bikini and all self-conscious about it. But we went out with my family out there and we were talking about going back. So if I go back to Jamaica, me and Karyn, we were talking about that. But if we go back, where should we go for just like real fun time
Montego
out?
Bay is where everybody goes.
Where's that?
I know, but Mo Bay's right by the airport. It's like you land at the airport, you go to Mo Bay. So I used to always go to Ocherias or Negril, but I haven't been to Kingston in forever. But now that I'm like a grown ass person who would be going to Jamaica, I'm like, I want to go to Kingston and dance and everything. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
I'm not trying to get
dance.
shot though, Ode. I'm not trying to get shot.
No go kick. You don't want to go. You don't
trying
want
to die.
You don't want to go there, so. You don't want to go there, so. You don't want to go there, so.
Me no one die.
You don't want it. You don't want it.
I'm like over there a big tourist. This is fun.
My mom is there.
This
My
is
mom is in
great.
Jamaica every month. She goes to Jamaica like no joke. My mom is in there. She goes back like every month.
Why haven't
like,
you gone
Really?
with
Because
her?
literally we were just talking about it, but we were told that COVID was still really bad because literally otherwise we'd be on a plane right now. But honestly, I'm not lying. Hours ago, we were just talking about going to Jamaica, but everybody's telling us that the COVID is still too bad.
Wait, you see my Jamaican my locks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a green in there.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
I got it did for my fight, so I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna get it more green.
Okay.
Nice. Are you gonna dye it or
I
just
did.
have
That's
yarn?
all
Oh,
dyed.
okay.
It's in a bun right now, but when I put it down, it's gonna be like
Nice.
Put
like
it
it's
in a
beautiful.
bun.
It's
Hey, speaking of bun and cheese, did you have that for Easter?
Bula, bula and cheese. Boop 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 boop.
Awesome. Hey, well, listen, it's really cool that you were able to join us today. And it's like, I didn't know you before. And Angie, like I said, she's like, I ran into him and I'm like, well, I know who he is. I just don't know him.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that now we've gotten to know you a little bit and everybody
Formally
now has more
introduced.
invested in your fight because there's no fights this weekend, but you're fighting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we'll talk after the show, but we met before, but we'll talk after.
Okay. All right. I'm trying
Is it
Yeah,
in Jamaica?
we met before.
I'm going to have to try to remember now.
Okay, all right. Molly McCann.
Oh, we love Molly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Were you
All right.
sauced? Was
You
she
remember?
sauced? Was she sauced over there? Tell us, spill it. Spill the tea.
Wait, was it in no, it wouldn't. Was it in London?
It was when I got the 26-second knockout.
Oh, so in the bar at the hotel after?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Okay, I was a little.
You was sauced.
We were all tossing it back a little
Yeah, a little
bit.
Ray.
We weren't even in the bar.
Matthew.
It was COVID. Remember, it was COVID. It was COVID, so we didn't even go into the bar.
Oh, we were over it. Oh, okay, right. We're not talking London. We're talking the Residence Inn.
Yes.
Oh shoot! Oh, we were hanging out, weren't we? That was your room.
Oh, dang, Karyn. You was up in people's rooms. You was up in fighters'
I went to see my
rooms.
girl Molly. And
Oh.
apparently now I'm remembering that Molly was in your room. Because I went to see Molly. I just went to see no. This is so funny now. Okay, now
Oh, man.
because listen, it was so COVID-y that they wouldn't even let Molly come. So we were in the residence inn next to the courtyard or whatever. We were in the courtyard next to the residence. They wouldn't let Molly come over to the courtyard inn. So then I had to go over to the residence inn. And so you're right. Oh, snap. That's right.
Dang, Karyn. I'm glad.
Well, I was apparently I was
found out I was in
He
somebody's
forgot
room.
all about me. We even talked about how we both got Jamaican ties and everything. So we had this whole conversation.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember now actually because I actually do remember because I love me some Molly. Both of us love us some Molly. And okay, now I'm going in my pictures because I'm like, okay, wait, you said that, and now I know where it is.
Molly is a good influencer on getting bevies with your buds, getting bevies with your friends. Yeah. So
and you guys were trying to order some stuff, and then it was going to be like forever for it to get delivered, and then you were like, we can't even bother because it was like 2 hours for it to get delivered.
All of this, we forgot all of this.
Listen,
awesome.
Ode,
we meet a lot of people.
In my defense,
Karyn meets more people than I do, but I know there are people who I will smile and give dap and give a big hug, and then they walk away, and I'm like, who is that
You know, it's funny. Karyn and I had like a personal conversation. I know she did the boxing interviews with all these boxers.
Right.
And she was this, and she was I know so much about Karyn.
Okay, so now I'm totally remembering it all because I do actually remember that now. And here's the thing: the problem is that I was saying this to somebody like one of the cut men this morning on the shuttle to the airport because I was just in Vegas this weekend. So we were talking about the fact that all these fights at the Apex, they bleed together, and so you forget what happens, right? And so you literally forget that you're there at certain things because
happened was.
You forget
what happened was
it actually didn't happen because
you're right, but all these things run together, and you forget, and so then we're happy that we're going back out on the road because then you go, hey, remember when we were in such and such place and so did this something, but all these things that happened week in, week out, going to Apex and going back, like I did forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and also
okay, another person that just.
But now that you say it, I do totally remember.
She just needed a reminder.
It's okay. Look, my dad left me. Karyn don't remember me.
Oh, now he's gonna self-sabotage again.
Wait. Ode, what month was that? When was that fight? When was that?
It was the
Volk versus Overeem.
Yes. How'd you know?
I'm on Wikipedia.
Right. Okay, but what month
I just
was it?
remember you better than Karyn does. No.
So that was 21 then, right?
Yep.
What month? Early 2021?
It was July. Wait, no. It was February 2021.
February 2021?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she got the pictures.
I know because I'm saying because I took the pictures with Molly and those were in your room then.
Yep.
Nice.
She was in my room and everything. Didn't even remember me.
Wow. On your bed.
On your bed, on your
probably
disc,
sitting
on
next
your
to some drawers, some dirty drawers from your weight cut.
Wait, February 2021, are you sure?
No, it's February 9th.
Wait.
The exact date was February 9th. I remember now.
2021?
No.
Wikipedia it says February 6th.
It was 2020.
2021.
No, it was 2020, I think.
It was 2020. It wasn't 2021.
Yeah, it was 2020.
It was 2020. Yeah. It was 2020. It wasn't 2021.
Wikipedia wrong.
Wikipedia is fucking me up.
Wikipedia is wrong AF, I think, because
let's see here.
All right. I know this makes gripping television, but I'm looking here
February,
and I'm like, wait.
It still says February. Wait, Overeem versus Volkov. You were the first fight?
Yep.
It says February 6th, 2021.
Oh, was it February 6th? Yeah, it was February. I think it was 6th.
Wow. 6th. I don't know what's happening here. Why I don't have these pictures because I totally remember being there and taking all those pictures in Molly's room. And
her coaches.
I know.
When Patty came over to the PI the other day, we actually had a conversation because his coaches were Molly's coaches, and we actually were talking about that.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. That's so great. Well, I wish
Well,
I understood why I don't have these pictures here anymore.
Right.
they must be on Molly's phone. We got to call Molly up and ask for
Yeah.
the receipts of that interaction
Right.
that happened.
Where's the Hillary? Where's the
Because I
email?
posted them online and oh no, I see here they are. Here's one of them. That's in your room then.
Yes.
Yeah,
in my
that's his
room.
pile of towels in the corner.
That's his pile of towel and his garbage. Right. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. So this is me and my girl Molly. Yeah, that's right. That was in your room after.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
I tried ordering some beers and they couldn't get it.
Yes.
COVID
And it was going to be like a couple hours. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love how you had
exactly.
the party room though. Like, what did you like? Start playing like a boombox or something? Open the door, like, "Hey, everybody, this is where
Pretty
the party's
much.
at." Yeah.
Well, because Molly lost, and I went to her room, and I was like, I wrote her a nice little note, put under her door. I didn't think she was gonna be like in a good mood, but she was like, "Ooh, hey,
she's a great girl." That's
Yeah. She's like rallying.
Yeah,
she's
she was
awesome.
dope. She's dope.
Yeah.
We love her. Okay, well, so listen. Again, folks should tune in on June 4th. You've got a big fight coming up, and you're on your way to the top. Luckily, a son of a gun signed the contract to fight you. Hopefully, he shows up on weight, though, right?
If he doesn't, he doesn't.
It is
But
what it
hopefully
is.
he does.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, otherwise, you get a little extra money, so it's all good.
Right. That's why I was right. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
Nice,
That's
nice.
right.
Hey,
Awesome.
And stay
Well,
tuned for my Jamaican pirate hat at weigh-ins and in my walkout because I'm doing the whole. You'll see.
Nice.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Good. Can't
Well,
wait.
listen, Ange, I got to thank you for setting this one up because Ode, you've been a great guest.
I mean,
Thank you.
he kind of fell into my lap. I was watching him train, and he was like, "Yo, what's up with that? What happened was I was like, okay, let's go." So it was really awesome seeing a little bit of your work ethic, like seeing you flow in the gym, and then I'm gonna get to see you work it out in the cage as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun ride. I'm enjoying this whole relationship that we have here. Also hidden, forgotten interactions between you and Karyn. Like I feel like this was all meant to be.
And what's crazy is that you were one of my favorite fighters on the Ultimate Fighter, and I was like, man, like for real, you were one of my favorite fighters. And I was like, man, someday I'm gonna be in the UFC.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Glad I can help
you. And you're here now.
Help you visualize that. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thanks,
awesome.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Y'all are awesome hosts, and I appreciate everything like from you guys. The questions from your energy, y'all have the dopest energy. I always watch, you guys do your thing, and your energy is always just so like I love it.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Same
Awesome.
to
All right.
you.
Well,
Same to
we know
you.
who we're rooting for on June 4th.
Yeah. Energy is king. Let's go.
Awesome. Hey, well, listen, tell Cam, and I kind of saw him last night. Like I didn't get to say hi, but I saw him on the screen, cornering your boy, and I was like, I need to go say hi to Cam. And I was working, I didn't get to, but tell everybody, and listen, your boy put up a good fight. It was a good fight, you know what I mean? So he'll get the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Man. You're awesome. We'll see
All right,
you soon.
Ode. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we'll see you on June 4th.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
See ya.
Right, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Boo, 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 boo.
Boo, 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 boo. Oh, that was great. Okay. My bad for not remembering I was hanging out with him and Mall after.
I'm like, what did you get into? I think Molly might be a bit of a bad influence for you.
There may have been some beer, some drinks involved.
There may have been a few bevies. Just a few.
But once he said that, then I was like, oh my God, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that you're having these exciting post-fight like hangouts, because that's really the best part of fight night. I feel like you put on the show, everyone did their thing, or everyone didn't do
Yeah.
their thing. Either way, you get some drinks, you mix it up with people who you probably normally wouldn't talk to if you weren't a little sauced up, and it ends up being a great night. Like it could either end in a fight or end in having a new best friend. Like
In a new
it really
bestie,
is
right?
a weird thing that happens post fight, but it's kind of awesome at the same time. So
It's
so
true.
yeah, I can totally see that whole scenario happening and not remembering any of it. Like there
Yeah, and it's
even
funny, and I don't want to say this, but like I remember when I was just started getting into MMA, like when I was working, I used to work on Showtime Championship Boxing, and then
yeah,
we started doing the MMA stuff. And I remember one time hanging out, and it was like Mark Cole. It was like I was with Morrow and Frank Shamrock, and because that's who I worked with. But we were
yeah.
hanging out with like Mark Coleman and some other people, and I remember like, wow, these are some legendary people here. Like but I
Yeah.
remember being one of those people where like it's almost like double Dutch, which as much jump rope as I do, I haven't double Dutched, but like you were like, I want to jump into this conversation, but at the same time, you kind of go, I got no place in this conversation right now because that's
Yeah,
Mark
I am not
Coleman, and that's
worthy.
you know what I mean. And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna lean back and enjoy this for now.
Yeah, and now you are that legend. You are that legend that is Karyn Bryant. It's pretty awesome going for over the hill from, oh my God, it's that person. Oh my God, it's that person, to who's that guy again? It's a thing that happens the longer you're in a profession. I know a lot
Yeah,
of times people say you have to be in a profession for at least 10 years before you start seeing any type of like form of making it, like you
right.
don't really make it in 10 years, but you start to see all the work kind of accumulating into something, and you've been
Yeah,
at this for a long time. So
right.
like, dude, you're people. I remember the first time like you made eye contact with me. I don't remember exactly when, but I just remember being like, oh, Karyn saw me.
Well, I love you. That was probably at the party
I was like,
for the
oh,
launch of
Karyn
the
saw
Tough
me.
Party, which I remember,
You
which I could
liked
pull
me.
up pictures from because I totally remember that. I do
Yeah.
remember some things.
Yeah, I
Well,
got noticed. Karyn noticed me, and I was very excited about that. So,
well, it's funny though because I've worked for the UFC for 10 years. I've covered MMA for longer, but it's funny because thank you for saying that. But like like, and it's funny because that's what Ode was saying. I really relate to the whole part about wanting to feel like you belong to something and wanting to
yeah,
feel like you are a part of something. And it is one of the things with the UFC where I'm still always going, man, I really hope, like I'm a part of this because I like it so much and I love what I do for a living and I always want to do more and I always want to help you guys tell your stories and I'm always feeling like I want to do more. And the other day, one of the security guards at the hotel is like, yeah, I don't really need to do this job. I'm retired from a thing. I work on this because I love the fights and like it's cool hanging out with you guys. And I remember watching you and he said something like, well, you're just as much of a part of the landscape, as the guys and the fighters and the this. And I was like, really? And he's like,
yeah,
yeah. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, oh cool. Like cool. Like
It's
cool.
hard to
Cause that's
accept,
all
right?
like that's what I want. And I
Yeah,
know a lot of it comes from where I grew up. Nobody else looked like me. I really stood out. I didn't feel like I belonged. Like, so all the stuff that he was saying about the themes of wanting to belong, like that really is a big theme that has actually caused me a lot of upset, but which at the same time, like, I know it's a major theme for me. So I totally
yeah.
understand him. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel that way too because I kind of came up in a very accepting environment where I was allowed to be weird, and it was like an all black community, and
Yeah.
I felt different, but not as different as when I left that community and went to college, went to art school, and then I'm like, the fuck, like what is this, what people are like outside of where I grew up? Like, this is crazy.
Right.
And then going from that to the MMA sphere too is like I get used to one kind of group demographic of people, and then MMA is the complete opposite from art school. So it's
Right.
just what like it's always been this feeling of I guess there's a lot of imposter syndrome that happens, and that doesn't necessarily have to do with like fitting in, but it does in another, and it does kind of too, because you know you have the skills, but you feel like you don't have the, you feel like you're not what the company wants, or you're not what the sport wants, or you're not
Right.
what like the entertainment industry wants, you know, like you
Yeah.
feel like you're forcing something, you're forcing a square into a circle hole a lot of the times. And I totally get what he was talking about with the self-sabotage, with like just kind of subconsciously making that decision. Like I always talk about the last time I got submitted, and it was Randa Marcos, and she was very beatable, but I got armbarred the same way that she had armbarred someone in the past. And I was like, fuck, like it happened in the gym. And I was like, fuck, that's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to me. Can we just keep working this defense? Keep working this defense. And as much as we worked the defense for that armbar, it still happened. And while I was in it, while the whole transitions were happening, I knew what was coming. And I think I froze. And it's kind of like this, like, deer in headlights kind of moment where you're like, oh no, it's happening again. And it could be as simple as that. Like that's that self-sabotage that he was talking about. So yeah, that was really cool that he was able to share that. And we should probably talk about my fight, since
I know. Well, I was gonna ask. I didn't know if you wanted
to get last week off
to get into that, but you know, and it's interesting because I sent the same message that I feel like I don't know if I sent it to you, but I should have if I didn't. But I sent basically a message to Eric Anders last night because I did think Eric got screwed. I thought Eric won his fight against Jin Young Park, and so I thought he got screwed. But I said to him, "Hey, listen, I'm sure you're bummed, but I can see that you're working on stuff, and I can see that you're improving. Like you can see it, and I know that this one didn't go your way, but keep your head up because." You can see it. You can see it, you know? And I feel like that's kind of the takeaway from yours as well, is like it may not have gone your way, but there were so many victories within that fight for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to hear because I'm just in my head. I'm just like, you should have done this. You should have done that. What the fuck? You know how to defend that. You know how to get up faster. You know how to like get off of the cage faster. Like, what were you doing? Why were you hesitating? Like, there's all these negative things in your head. And it's really hard to push that away. And that's why I kind of pieced out on social media for a second, because I know I'm telling myself way worse things than anyone online can be telling me. Like I'm my worst critic by far. But it's still hard to hear those shitty thoughts validated by people who don't even know you, who don't know your struggle, who don't know how hard you work, who don't believe in you the way that your coaches believe in you, the way that your training partners believe in you, the way that my husband believes in me. So it's like it is good for your mental health to step away from that criticism and only listen to the people who do care about you, who do want to see you grow. And they're not gonna just butter you up for no reason. Like you, if I got my ass kicked, you wouldn't have said that, you know? Like
I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, you would have just like been like, hey buddy, you want a drink? You know,
want a drink? Exactly.
Yeah, that sucked. Yeah.
I heard about a new dispensary.
Yeah, let's forget that happened, you know. like people who actually care about you, who are actually in your corner, they'll tell you the harsh truth, as well as the good things that you need to hear. And that was the good thing that I got from that fight. I got a lot of good feedback. I got a lot of good information on what I need to do in order to get to the point where I will beat that type of fighter who is just so determined to go to the ground. Didn't throw a
That's all she had. That's all she had for you.
Yeah. So it's frustrating.
Which shows how afraid she was of standing and exchanging with you.
Yeah, I mean the few exchanges that happened, she almost got dropped. So there was it gives me a lot of motivation for the next one. But it is hard because it's so many losses accumulated. Once you get that legitimate or one or two legitimate losses in that clump, people forget about the split decisions. People forget about the close fights or the ones that should have gone my way. When you just got one up there like Holly, like it doesn't really affect your momentum. Everyone's going to be like, that was a one-off. But when I have like the grouping of losses, it's tough. It's tough to come back from. It's tough to block that out and focus on what is real. The what's on paper isn't real. The skills that I show in the cage, that's what's real. So it's gonna be a tough one, you know, getting over it. But I can chill for a bit. I can, you know, keep grinding, keep training, keep working on things. And I think every time I come back, that was about 5 months from my last fight, and the one before that was a little longer. Every time I come back, I'm a different fighter. I'm more dangerous. So I'm just gonna enjoy the break this time instead of hitting up Mick every 5 seconds and saying, hey, anyone fall out of a card? I'm just gonna chill. Relax.
Well, I mean, and she had a real repetitive game plan for you. She only had like one way to beat you, you know, and it didn't work, and you didn't get submitted. I mean, it worked, so yes, she wins the fight, but it's not like anybody was like, holy smokes, did you see that Jan Jadova like kicked her ass? Like, no, it's like Jan Jadova did something and barely eked out one because she, you know, controlled her, you know what I mean? But like, she didn't submit you. You didn't, you know, I think a lot of other girls would have been submitted, you know what I mean by that. And the fact that at the end when you stacked her up, I love that you had your face, your knee on her face and all this stuff. I mean, like,
did you think about our conversation about the grounded opponent rule and how I would love for that
soccer
not
kicks
to be
and
a rule?
stuff. I know.
Oh, Karyn, I was so tempted. I got yelled at by the ref and everything. But I lost my balance. It wasn't because I was trying to drop a knee on her face like an elbow. I was like putting my knee on her face, and I lost my balance, and the knee fell on her head. But that was her fault. That wasn't my fault.
Yeah. I mean, and people are saying too that she seemed much bigger than you. Did she feel heavy?
Yes, she felt heavy, but in a way that if I just had a little more technique on the ground, it wouldn't have made a difference. Like there were a couple of moments where I started to butterfly sweep, or I started to like almost off balance her, and if I just had a little more kick over with the hip, just a little better timing, then she would have gone over. She didn't feel as heavy as like my training partners. So that was,
everybody's saying they think she seemed like so much bigger than you.
No, she was fucking huge. And
even my mom said that. She's like, wait a minute, who's that girl that Angie's fighting? She's so big.
Funny though, because I feel like everyone looks bigger than me. Like I felt like Lemos looked way bigger than me. I felt like I always make fun of Watterson looking huge, but she did. She looked fucking huge. I feel like everyone is just bigger than me, and it's not like I know Carla was talking about putting on size, and I mean she looks the same size to me. She didn't put on size.
She doesn't look like she's any bigger.
She had like little shoulder
a little bit. She's always just been real teeny to me, but she's just such a great wrestler and all that. Like, but Carla doesn't. Yeah, she looks very much the same to me.
Yeah, and I think it's hard when you're framed. Like my original plan was to fight at 105, but like Ode, it was hard to find opponents that would be able to show up on time because like people get injured, people fall out, and then every 105er walks around at 130. So you can't get someone to come and fight you on 2 or 3 weeks notice. So it made more sense business-wise for me to fight at 115, but it does make a difference when the fights are close, when they're evenly matched. I feel like I've lost a lot of fights just because the person pushed me and I moved backwards. Like literally in the Gedalia fight, she didn't score anything, but she threw a push. She pushed me with 2 hands, and that was like in the highlights of what she did in the 3rd round. Yeah, so it's just size has always been one of those obstacles that I've had to overcome. And
it does matter, Ange.
It's not about the size, Karyn. It's about motion of my ocean. But I mean, it's true. The girls don't like it when I stick them. So maybe that's why. Maybe I'm just too small.
Oh my goodness. Hey, listen,
God.
before we get out of here, hey, listen, you are going on a trip next week, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little envious. I need to go over there and trace the family roots, but where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm going to the motherland of my husband, Scotland. So that should
Nice.
be fun. We're gonna go visit some family, see a few sites, go to some distilleries, do a little whiskey tasting. Well, whiskey tasting is basically just going to a bar and drinking whiskey, but
I was just
that's
gonna
what we're
say.
gonna be doing. We're gonna be drunk. It's a great drunk holiday. If you guys like to drink whiskey or gin, Scotland is a great place to go and just have a reason to drink. It's like what is that area in California? The fucking
Oh, like wine country where you just go up
yeah,
there and you just drink in wine country.
yeah. It's a perfect excuse because Scotland is the only place you can get scotch. Bet you guys didn't know that. So yeah, we're gonna go to Scotland. We're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna see some Highland coos. They're really cool looking cows.
Nice.
I think I showed you a picture of them before. They're
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool looking. And yeah, visit Adam's family. Say hi to my mom and
Nice.
my pa. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun time.
Nice. And when are you leaving?
I'm leaving next Wednesday, and I
Okay,
might
nice.
hit up Scottish hit squad too. Hit up your boys, Bryant,
Yes, you
Paul
should.
Craig.
Brian
So
and those guys. Yeah, you should. You
yeah, they
should.
got a nice new space. So even
I
if I
know
don't
they got
drink,
a
I
big new
just want to check
space.
it out.
Yeah. Well, Brian posted some pictures. Like, I guess they had, I don't know if they were doing like amateur fights or whatever or something, but like,
Oh,
a bunch
fun.
of the kids were fighting this weekend and they all did really well. So yeah, you should definitely, they
Good.
love you. So you definitely should go over there.
Yeah, and he actually sent me a really nice message. Ode did too. He was really sweet after the fight. But yeah, Brian Paul Craig's coach sent me a nice message.
Uh-huh.
It was just like, yeah, your grappling defense was on point, and coming
Yeah.
from Paul Craig's coach, that was
I was going to say you can grapple with Mr. Craig and get some practice in.
yeah. See, I'm like, if I could sweep you, teach me how to sweep your big ass, and then I won't have to worry about any girl who was at 115.
Yeah,
the
sweep
day
it to
before I
a
fought.
fiver and then you're going to.
Yeah, show me how. Just tell me how. I'll work on it. I know it won't work that day, but I'll work on it at home, and then
Nice.
my sweeps will be on point.
Nice. So yeah, so we won't have a show next weekend, but it's also Memorial Day weekend. People are out there with their boats and hoes doing whatever they need to do, right?
Hey.
And
You
yeah, and
had
so
you
I
a
have
boat?
a couple weeks off. Unfortunately, I'm not working Ode's fight. I'm back for because there's Ode's fight with Biggie, who's been on with us as well. Biggie Boy has been on with us, and both you and I both now have Biggie Boy shirts. So I'll be wearing my Biggie shirt on June 4th. No disrespect to Volkov, but I'll be wearing my Biggie Boy
I
shirt.
mean, he didn't send us a shirt. That's his fault.
Don't have a Volkov shirt, so got a Biggie shirt.
Yeah.
So yeah, Biggie Boy is fighting, and then there is the pay-per-view over in Singapore, and then I'm back for that show in Austin, which should be good. But yeah.
Nice. Fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ange, where can people find you on social media?
Nowhere. I'm off of that shit. No.
That's right.
You can find me. You got the graphic, right? We can find me at Instagram at Angie Overkill, Twitter at Angie Overkill, and TikTok at Overkill or Overkill Hill. Yes.
Yes,
There
here it is. Yeah, twitch.tv.angieoverkill.
Oh, that's where we can find the
Karyn
show.
Bryant. This is where you find the show.
My bad. I called for the graphic and I was wrong. But
no, this is my bad. I thought I made us one specifically for where to find each of us too, but that's where to find what happened. Well, this is where you find the show. But twitch.angieoverkill. But listen, but on your YouTube your IG and your Twitter are both just Angie Overkill. Anyway. Yeah, it's all the same. So, yeah.
Check it out.
Over on Twitter, I'm Karyn Bryant, YouTube Karyn Bryant. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're watching this on Angie's Twitch, hit subscribe. If you're seeing this on Twitter, hit follow or whatever. This is actually episode 64. We've been cranking these out for a while, and so we've gotten a lot of interviews with cool people. And so we usually do this every Sunday. You could also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio and everything, right? So
yes. Check it out.
Cool.
Subscribe. Tell your friends. And tell us who you want to see next.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, cool. Well, that does it for us, but we appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks then, probably, right?
Yeah. Happy Memorial Day for y'all.
All right, folks. Take it easy. Thanks, Joe.